Perhaps one of the hardest questions to answer in a human life is not how to achieve success, but what is success for? Every morning, millions of people wake up before the sun even has a chance to rise. They rush to prepare for a new day, crowding through the heavy traffic, facing the pressure, the meetings, the bills, the goals, and countless worries that never truly end. All with one very familiar belief: just try a little harder, just make enough money, just reach this next goal. And then, one day, I will finally live the life I've always dreamed of. But have you ever paused to ask yourself, what if that one day never comes? If happiness is always waiting ahead, are we spending our entire lives chasing a horizon that we can never touch? There's a very strange paradox in life. We sacrifice our time to make money, then use that money to buy back our time. We trade our health to build a career. And once we have the career, we spend our remaining years trying to heal a broken body. We are so busy preparing for the future that we forget life only truly exists in the present. And sometimes, the very thing we search for over decades is already standing right in front of our eyes. There is a famous parable that has been retold across the world for decades. A very short story, but powerful enough to make millions of people look back at the way they live. It is the story of a wealthy chief executive officer and a poor fisherman on a small island in the middle of the sea. At a sun-drenched pier on a quiet tropical island, a wealthy CEO was standing at the edge of the water. He was taking a rare, stressful vacation from his multi-million-dollar empire, but corporate anxiety was still humming in his veins. At that moment, a small wooden boat docked from afar. Inside was a local fisherman, serene and smiling, with a few large, beautiful tuna shimmering in his basket under the setting sun. The CEO stepped forward, impressed by the quality of the catch. "How long did it take you to catch these?" he asked. The fisherman looked up, his eyes clear and untroubled. "Oh, just a couple of hours, my friend." The CEO frowned, his analytical mind immediately spinning. "Why didn't you stay out longer to catch more?" The fisherman shrugged gently. "This is more than enough to feed my family for the day." The CEO pressed further. "But what do you do with the rest of your time?" The fisherman smiled, letting the warm sea breeze brush through his hair. "I sleep late. I fish a little. I go home to play with my children. In the afternoon, I take a nap with my wife. And when evening comes, I walk into the village, sip wine with my friends, and play the guitar. My life is already full and beautiful." The CEO let out a sharp, mocking laugh. He stood tall, adjusting his expensive sunglasses, and said, "Listen to me. I have an MBA from a top university. I can help you. You should spend more time fishing. With the extra money, you can buy a bigger boat. With the profits from the bigger boat, you can buy an entire fleet. Instead of selling your fish to a middleman, you can open your own processing plant and control the entire distribution network." The CEO's eyes grew bright with the familiar fever of ambition. "You would leave this small village, move to the capital city, then to New York, to manage your expanding global enterprise." The fisherman listened quietly, his face peaceful, completely unswayed by the grand vision. "And then what, sir?" the fisherman asked softly. The CEO laughed triumphantly. "Then comes the best part. When your company grows massive, you announce an IPO. You sell your stocks and become incredibly wealthy. You will make millions." "And after I make millions, what then?" the fisherman asked again, his voice like a still pond. The CEO paused, looking out at the endless horizon, and smiled. Well, then you can finally retire. You can move to a small, quiet coastal village. You can sleep late, fish a little, play with your grandchildren, take afternoon naps with your wife, and spend your evenings sipping wine and playing guitar with your friends. The fisherman looked at the wealthy man, whose heart was heavy with 1,000 worries, and said nothing. He didn't need to. The silence carried the answer. He was already there. And then, perhaps you too have realized the ultimate paradox of this entire story. The CEO spent nearly 10 minutes mapping out a plan that spans 30 or even 40 years, working harder, making more money, expanding further, enduring more pressure, sacrificing more, only to finally tell the fisherman, one day you will be able to rest. You can sleep late, spend time with your family, sit by the sea, sip wine with your friends, and play the guitar every evening. But wasn't that exactly the life the fisherman was already living from the very beginning? That is the paradox so many of us are living every single day. We trade our present to buy a future that we hope will be happier. We sacrifice our health to make money, then use that money to try and win back our health. We sacrifice time with the people we love to build a future for them. By the time we have enough time, our parents have grown old, our children have grown up, our friends have gone their separate ways, and we ourselves are no longer the person we used to be. The saddest thing is not that we fail to achieve success. It is that we succeed. But we lose the very things that gave that success its meaning. Do not misunderstand this story. It is not saying that money is evil. It is not saying that ambition is wrong. It does not advise you to abandon your grand goals, because money can bring freedom. Success can open up opportunities, and honest labor is always something to be deeply respected. But there is one question that every person should ask themselves before running any faster. Everything you are striving for today, what is it ultimately for? If the final answer is still to live in peace, to eat a meal with family without rushing, to wake up without a lingering anxiety in your heart, to look at the sky, to listen to the laughter of your children, to sit quietly with a cup of tea on a windless afternoon, then perhaps you don't need to wait until everything is perfect to allow yourself to live. Because life does not begin after you succeed. Life is happening right now, in every single breath, in every single meal, in every single embrace, in every quiet afternoon that we so often miss because we are too busy thinking about tomorrow. There's a saying well worth carrying for the rest of your life. Don't spend your whole life climbing a ladder, only to realize at the top that it was leaning against the wrong wall. Go make money. Go chase your dreams. Go continuously develop yourself. But do not trade away everything that gives life its meaning, just for a promise that one day I will be happy. Because happiness is not a reward for those who reach the final destination. Happiness is the ability to realize that, in the middle of this hurried journey, the most precious things have already been right beside us all along.